lunch. Well, unemployment remains one of South Africa's key challenges going forward, and entrepreneurship has been identified as a catalyst for economic growth and job creation as well. Joining us for more insight is Hlengiwe Mkhize. She's South Africa's Deputy Minister of Economic Development, and Bridgitte Backman is MD of Sasol Chemcity as well. Welcome, ladies. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. Well, at a time, Bridgitte, when we have many companies, battling under the pressure, at a time when credit lines, especially for risky ventures, are drying up, at a time when opportunities are rife as well, especially within a space like that of energy, it's certainly conflicting times for business operating or looking to venture down this entrepreneurial route.
Yes, it is, but we believe at Sasol Chemcity that innovation spurs economic growth. So we always say that if any entrepreneur has a brilliant idea or just an idea of how they can solve a challenge that they've noticed every day, they should come to us, because what we can do is we can look at the technology, develop the innovation further, and do a small-scale commercialization. Because as you were saying, the conflict arises in that a lot of people want to foster entrepreneurship, but not a lot of people are prepared to invest money in testing a technology. So we are saying that's where we will be prepared to invest in testing new technologies, testing the innovation, and then commercializing it and taking it to market for the entrepreneurs.
Deputy Minister, it's Lindsay in Cape Town. Thanks very much for joining us. I just want to broaden this discussion if I can. I've been recently reading an article in a magazine called Intelligent Life, which is published by The Economist. And they sort of did this analysis that when people are faced with hardship, they actually become more creative and actually flourish. And just looking at some reports that have been coming out of Global Entrepreneurship Week, there was one that said that 57% of African respondents consider becoming an entrepreneur a desirable career choice. But in South Africa, it's much less. And they almost suggest in this report that because African entrepreneurs are faced with more hardships than we are in South Africa, our desire in South Africa is sort of less, and we prefer the corporate route. Have you found that?
Well, as you know, that in most parts of Africa, often you find that they've come out of a conflict, or there was a war or a genocide, and often people look for opportunities to meet specific needs. In South Africa, on the other hand, we've realized that we have a challenge. We have to grow our economy beyond where it's staggering, 2.5 and 3%. And the only way we can succeed is to really promote economic inclusion, and we are looking at the development of entrepreneurship starting quite early while people are still at school, and also ensuring that we put in place the support systems like product development, access to markets, access to development finance. That will change the situation around and encourage more South Africans to participate, to look for opportunities, new ventures, and to be innovative, to basically be entrepreneurs.
That's exactly it. I mean, with our economic standing, Bridgitte, it really puts the pressure on the entrepreneur or, would-be entrepreneur out there to become a lot more innovative. How do we rate or rank as innovators?
As in terms of a country and innovation, we're sort of in the midway mark out of the countries surveyed. But the issue isn't per se about the entrepreneurs. In my mind, the issue also is our psyche as a nation. I don't believe we elevate role models who've been successful entrepreneurs enough. So the messaging at school is about studying, going to university, getting a degree and working, instead of saying you could still study science and make money out of it. So we're fairly apologetic, I think, as a nation also about wanting to create wealth. I think we need to stop being apologetic and drive creating wealth, because if we don't create wealth at the entrepreneurship level, we are not going to address poverty, and we're not going to address job creation.
That you say that we perhaps don't give or pay enough recognition to success out there as we perhaps should be. Do we embrace failure enough?
this morning when I was talking at the African Entrepreneur Global Breakfast, I said that the willingness to fail is very critical. But it's not only about the willingness to fail, it's about accepting that you could fail. But not accepting to always fail. Because if you go into entrepreneurship and you think you're going to fail, you're not going to want to try again. And we have found that often it's only the second or third time around that your innovation is successful and goes to market. So you have to be very resilient to be an entrepreneur. It's a bit of a backbone and fiber you have to have. You have to be very stubborn. You are going to have people misunderstanding you all the time. You're going to wake up with an idea and someone's going to tell you, what did you smoke last night? What did you dream of? Who did you see? Why have you got this stupid idea? And you've got to believe that your vision and your idea is right. And if I look at some of our entrepreneurs who've had what people would consider wacky ideas, and some of them are exporting. So you just have to believe in yourself and that idea, find the technology partner to make it happen in the innovation space.
Yeah.
Bridgitte, I just want to stay with you. Sorry, Deputy Minister, but I just want to follow up on this because I've heard a lot of theory over the last couple of weeks about entrepreneurs and SMEs and setting it up and the finance and everything. But can you give us a sort of a brief practical example of how Sasol's enterprise development vehicle has helped somebody or has fostered some idea?
I could give you a few. The one that I like the most, and it's not only because I'm a female, but someone came to us with an idea of preserving flowers, but real live flowers, so you wouldn't water them. And instead of saying it's wacky, we said that's really wacky, let's research that. So today, this entrepreneur based in Creosdorp preserves roses and proteas through a chemical process. It lasts for 6 months. You don't have to water it, and it's a real live flower. What we've added now to it is you can color it any color, so you can sell it to any corporate. So our flowers are blue and white roses. You can also now, we're busy investigating if you could add fragrance to it. So that is an idea, and she's exporting. The product is getting exported.
So quite a bit of innovation out there. That how Sasol, Deputy Minister, is coming to the party and helping foster entrepreneurial spirit. Government, I mean, what are you doing from government side to encourage business and in a bid to actually stimulate the economy?
We work in partnerships. For instance, when it comes to growing the economy, starting with the development of entrepreneurs and small, medium entities, we realize that as government, we need the private sector to come on board. And the cooperation between Sasol and government. Also in the workshop where we were this morning, the business workshop, we had IDC, and government is a shareholder. Our department is a shareholder there. So we really work closely with specific sectors. I think our challenge is really to grow the number of entrepreneurs. As South Africa, as usual, we tend to have extremes. You'll have Mr. Ackerman in the retail sector who have done very well, and in the ICT sector, and many others who have succeeded. And then you have a majority of people who are struggling, whom you still have to help in terms of stimulating their thinking and making them to be excited about being owners of businesses.
Absolutely. Well, let's leave it there.